This video explains how to use the u5CMS Web Content Management System. u5CMS requires a server with PHP and MariaDB. It is free to use. u5CMS can be downloaded from the internet. Just enter u5CMS in Google. Here you can see an example page in u5CMS. To change this, you have to go to the back end of u5CMS. There are two methods for this. It is recommended to double-click at the top left of the page to be edited in the empty corner. It is important to do this within the square centimeter really at the top left, i.e. at the origin of the browser rendering area and not in the corner given by the layout. Alternatively, you can reach the back end by extending the URL with a /u5admin, e.g. https://www.mysite.com/u5admin. Now we are in the back end. You can see that this roughly consists of 3 columns, 2 wide and 1 narrow. The left-hand column is set to preview. You can see here that the round options button next to the letter P is marked as preview. The second wide column to the right of the first is set to editor area, for the English version of the website, as you can see from the options button next to the small letter E. Speaking of languages, u5CMS supports up to 5 languages. You can see where you can set the languages towards the end of this video. Editing is very simple. Simply type text into the text field in the editor area. You can find the insert format commands on the button with the small I. It stands for insert. Let's take a look at some formats. The main title is written in 4 square brackets. Subtitles are written in 3 square brackets and subtitles in 2 square brackets. Simple square brackets are not for titles. We will use them right now for inserting formatting and objects such as images. Let's look at a few selected formats. We distinguish between formats for continuous text, referred to as inline, and formats that affect an entire section, referred to as paragraph, or elements such as forms and lists. For example, here is a bold text passage. The small b in square brackets starts the bold text, the slash in square brackets ends it. There are other elements such as smaller font, larger font, highlighting, italics, fixed width font, subscript, superscript, strike-through, etc. Let's look at a few elements. This is a numbered list, this is a bulleted list, this is a table, and this is how you reference an external internet address or an email address. Special and potent is the element HTML, between square bracket h:\square bracket and the mirror image of it you can directly enter HTML, JavaScript and even PHP commands, the latter only if enabled in the configuration file of your u5CMS installation. Here you will find a ready-made table and here a ready-made form. We will soon see where the form entries of your site visitors are stored. Of course, you should now save the page, which you can do by clicking on the button with the small s here. Now let's look at the narrow column on the far right. This is called PDVSA repository, where all objects can be found, pages, images, uploaded files, data entered in forms and basic settings and also the user administration. Under P for pages we find the pages. We distinguish between intranet pages, whose object names must begin with an exclamation mark, and standard pages. There is also an archive in which you can store rarely used items in order to keep the object list short. Under I for images are the images. We distinguish between free images for all image formats without zoom capability and standard images for JPEG images with zoom capability. Under D are documents, which can be any type of file that you want to offer for download. Under V are videos, YouTube references on the one hand and local video and audio files on the other. Under E you create external links that you want to use multiple times as an object, and under S are the specialties, and under A for account is the user administration. Let's go back to I for images to upload a standard image and place it on the page. First we click on the new button and give the image a name. You can now see that this name has appeared here on the list. There is nothing in it yet, so it is an empty object shell. To upload an image, it must be a JPEG file. We click here on the U for upload. We can now place this image on the page by referencing its object name in simple square brackets. This reference can also be inserted via the arrow here. Place 0 to several colons within the square brackets in front of the object name to change the size and position of the image display. If you want to upload not just one image but several grouped together in an album, create a new image object in the standard images and, please note, switch to album mode before you create the object. You can now upload several images under you place the album again as a reference in square brackets on the page and select the display form again using the number of colons. The metadata of the image can be entered here. All text for blind users, under short caption the short caption and under long caption the long caption for the zoomed image display in the front end. Let's switch briefly to the free images. Here not only JPEG images are possible, but also PNG etc. You can see here that a link can optionally be placed on the image and that the width and height of the image to be displayed can be set here. It is recommended that you only ever enter one dimension so that the image is not distorted. Let's switch to D for documents. If we want to publish a PDF file, for example, we create an empty object again via new, name it, upload the PDF file via U and add the object to the page again in simple square brackets. You can label the link to the left of the colon. As you have seen in the upload window, you can also upload language versions of this file. If there are no language versions, the file from the first language is always used. You can also create new pages in the same way, i.e. under P for pages, check that you are in standard pages, then new, then enter the object name, and now the empty page is on the list and can be edited. You build the information architecture of your pages on the page called navigation. The Gardenhag characters indicate the level, from 1 to 4, followed by an opening square bracket, then the text for the end users, then a colon and the object name of the page and then the square bracket is closed. Let's take another look at the narrow column on the far right, the PDVSA repository. You can control the following via the 6 option buttons PSF here, object preview on and off, sorting by date or alphabet, and here is a special filter, which you should normally always leave switched off. You can use the magnifying glass to search for objects and object contents. The white letterer on a black background takes you to the archive. You should not normally go there. Here we see, among other things, the letters R, L, C, D, which mean R for rename to rename objects, L for localize to find the locations where objects are used, and D for delete to delete an object. And at the bottom of the PDVSA repository column you will find the previous versions of your page content and files. Finally, let's take a look at the specialty section of your u5CMS, which is the S in PDVSA. Here you can see what you saved last. Under all users you can see the same for all users. Now click on special functions here, and we are back again. Entries in your web forms are saved under form data. Click on the HTML link there and you will see the data table. This can be exported as Excel or displayed as a graphic. You can make backups under backup content. Under code you can change the HTML template and the CSS files. This area is for professionals only. Under define title fixum you can enter the fixed part of your page title, which is very important for search engines. Under define homepage you define which of the pages should be the homepage. Under define languages you set the languages in which your pages are offered, from 1 to 5 languages. Under define sizes you set the basic sizes, especially for images. The remaining 3 buttons here should only be used by experienced administrators. Finally, we will show you a very popular function, namely the insertion of pages on pages. If you reference a page with $signs and a colon in square brackets, the content of the page will be displayed on the carrier page. In this way, content can be managed centrally and inserted multiple times. Please avoid circular references at all costs. That was a brief introduction to your u5CMS. When you have finished working in the u5CMS backend, don't forget to log out, namely here at the top right of the Japanese exit sign. By logging out, the search index will also be updated immediately. By the way, on cell phones your site will be displayed as a mobile web app, which is more user-friendly than classic responsiveness. You can find the user manual for u5CMS at yuba.ch/u5CMS.